Welcome back, guys. It's that time of year for another vintage chainsaw restore project. This one I've actually looked for about 2 years now. It's a McCulloch MAC 1010 automatic. There are a couple of different varieties of the 1010. They made them from like the 60s all the way up into the 80s. Very good, popular saws. What's unique about it is, well, they're very loud, and apparently because of the shape of the bar, they vibrate a lot. And what's kind of interesting about this one that I've not seen yet is that notice the pull starter is actually on the right side, same side as the bar. It's usually on the left side, but here it's on the right side, so that'll be new to me. So we are going to do the usual, take it apart, clean it all up, rebuild the carburetor. So yeah, let's start taking it apart. These three bolts here were pretty tight, so I used a impact driver there, tapped on them just a little bit, enough to free them up so that we can take these out. Okay, now that we got that off, we're going to just spin it around here, take this cover off, and pretty normal looking in here. Right in there is a shiny nut, which looks like somebody's been in here and done a tune-up. So we'll see what's going on with that. Now we are taking off the bolts on either side of the crankshaft, the drum side and the magneto side. And what I usually do is I work on opposites, and I assume that they're counterclockwise. One of them will usually break loose, and they did. It's this one. I'm going to crank this and tighten it up real tight. And I'll tell you what's going to happen is I'm going to tighten it up, and I might have to tap on the top of it, but this is going to pop right off. And lo and behold, that's exactly what it did instantly. Dang, I wish I would have got that on video for you guys. All I did was crank it. There was no tapping necessary, and it popped with a ping. So this is going to come right off like this. Okay, I have to show you guys this. I even brought up my paper plates because I know you guys love my paper plates. So I took this bearing off, and I was like fiddling with it, and it didn't seem like it was rolling very well. So I just barely touched it, and the bearing started falling out of it. So this cage is not really holding them in very well, at least from the inside. And so they started popping out. So I don't want to lose any of them when that happens. So I'm going to have to be very careful and put these into their own little special bag. Another tip for you here is that had a Woodruff key in it. I've taken it out. So always take out those keys. Sometimes they're stuck in there and you think they'll stay. And then you go to put it back together and it's missing. So go ahead and take it out and keep it where you know where it is. Okay, so on the other side, what do we do about this nut? Well, like I said earlier, a lot of times you get lucky and it's the same size bolt and thread, so you can try to twist it on, and I'm able to do that, which tells me that this nut is also a righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So we don't have to play any games with going one way or the other. We know exactly which way it's going to come off. The challenge, though, is we don't have any leverage on the other side, so we're going to have to stuff the chamber, the combustion chamber, with some rope to lock up the piston so that it doesn't turn, and then we'll be able to wind it off that way. And you want to get a feel for when the piston goes down to its lowest point, which is called bottom dead center. Doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to make sure it's not at the top. And then you just feed in nylon rope. And just like that, came right off. You know, you twist the mag flywheel there until it binds up, and then I use a pretty long cheater bar on it. Well, surprisingly, that came right off. That is not always the case, and you've seen in my other videos, sometimes you have to bang on them a little bit with a little wooden mallet and tease them off, and I've even had to use a puller to get them off, but that one just came right off, easy peasy. Take careful note of the washers and things underneath this so you'll know how to find your way back when you put it back together. So I took those washers off, including that key, and here they are. Put all your parts in separate bags for each section like this and keep it organized. It'll help out a lot when you put it all back together. So it turns out I really can't take off the coil because the spark plug here, which is the high intensity side of the coil, will not fit through an opening there. So I'm going to have to take apart the housing on the saw. We're going to go ahead and take off the top of this. Might be a few case bolts in there that we have to deal with. That's just going to go directly into the cleanup bin. We've got our little air filter looking thing here. That's a little bit peculiar. Want to be careful with these things. Don't ruin anything we might want to replace. I bet we can wash this thing out and that'll be perfectly fine. That actually looks pretty good. There's our Walbro carburetor. Pretty standard stuff there. It does look like I'm going to have to take the carburetor off to be able to get down to these manifold bolts as part of what's holding this top chassis on here. So okay, so I took the 2 bolts off of the carburetor and ended up having to pinch and squeeze this off and ended up like cutting it and whatever. But I mean, whatever. Fuel leaked out of that. We're going to have to replace hoses anyway. Was able to maneuver the carburetor for this linkage, which is the choke, to come off of that. So really, my advice here on this is to pay very close attention to the orientation of these linkages. So this one goes like that. We're going to put it over here. The rest is just going to be kind of juxtapositional wrestling with this thing to get it off. See if I can do that here on camera without breaking anything. There you go, like that. You just kind of have to twist it until it comes off, but putting it back on is the reverse, and it's not always easy. Now that we have it off, we can look down in there and see the piston. You can see that. And not shocking, but that actually looks great. There's no sign of scoring. Note to self, there were 2 little washers here, whoops, magnetized underneath this bracket. See what I did there? Just a note, I took the bolt that was out of there, and it's got a little fiber washer here, and then another one of these washers that's got a little bend clip over it. Okay, so after taking that bolt out, I started opening it just a little bit and not much pressure at all, and there was a little bit of a tick snap that I need to figure out what that was. It wasn't a lot of pressure or anything like that, but the whole thing comes off, and you can see that the only tether there is that's the kill switch connector. But the whole top, the gas tank, everything comes off. So after cleaning this up a little bit and studying it, I think that little tick I heard was nothing more than the plunger here just going into this the oil pumps. So now we can go ahead and take off the ignition pieces here, the coil, condenser, points, etc. Points in there, and that must be about the most basic points I have ever seen. Suppose we're going to take these 2 screws off, and then this whole plate will come off. All right, we've got all the peripherals taken off of this thing. The only thing left is to separate the head from the crankcase and the oil reservoir on the back. But before we do all that, we're going to take some compressed air and clean it up and put down some fresh workspace paper here because it's gotten to be nasty, nasty stuff. And voila, presto magico. Got it all cleaned up, blew it out with some compressed air, and shot it with some carb cleaner. Still needs to obviously be cleaned up a little bit more. What we're going to do here is, looking at this, I can see there's some external bolts here that are holding, screwed into the head. This whole piece here is the head, but there's some much bigger bolts that I can see the end of the threads coming out here. And it looks to me like the only way to get to those is going to be to open up the oil cavity. So I'm presuming that when we open up the oil cavity, we'll be able to access the heads of these bolts in here. Okay, so this ends up being a 1/4 inch socket here. Next up is a little crescent wrench. Really interesting. This is supposed to be a automatic, and when an engine says, chainsaw says it's automatic, they're referring to the oiling is automatic. That's the only thing that's really automatic on a chainsaw. And got a little gasket here we want to be aware of. We don't want to lose that or damage it. As you can see now, this is special. It's got a little bell-shaped end on that end, and then it has this on the other end. And so I'm probably going to leave that intact. Okay, so onto these 4 inner bolts here. Looks like an 8mm is going to work for these. Just like that. So let's see, probably going to have to give it a little bit of encouragement again with the old wood block. Just a little tap will do it, and it ought to pull right out. And there it is. There's our piston and our crankshaft. So I'm just kind of looking at it to kind of visually inspect it. I'm feeling it, pushing it up and down, and I don't feel any play. Side to side is fine. That's not a big deal. Looking down inside here, I do not see any significant scoring. This is the outer seal. That should come right off. Let's see. I want to be careful about this. There's the outer seal. This is most likely the bearing. Make sure nothing falls out of that. Typical ordinary bearing in there. And on this side, this is a pressed on bearing. Needs to be cleaned up for sure. So there's a seal. This is a seal around here. Probably want to replace that. An impact driver on this. And you are going to get to watch it. Make sure that's headed the right way. And there you go. 1, 2, There we go. Okay. And there we have our oil pump. It does have a gasket on it. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned. Catch you on the next one.